Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to update number 2 of my Warlord Epic Black Powder ACW project. That is a mouthful. For those who haven't seen the first couple of videos, go back and watch them. I have, like so many other, dove into the ACW 20 or 15 mil 13.5 true Warlord game stuff. So I'm going to pick off where I left off with the last update. The first update was really figuring out, I got my first unit put together. I had received some other items that I'm going to get into here in a little bit from Stone Mountain Miniatures. But really, this is the first group that I had painted based off of using the War Games Illustrated kind of paint tutorial guide that they had in there, using a lot of the actual GW contrast paints. And as you can see, now I actually have gotten the flags on them. So based off of, they say, with 5 bases here, I'm going to just show you kind of what we're looking at here before we get into showing the updated stuff. So there they are with the flags on them. I'm holding this one up specifically because I want to show something later on with these guys a little bit more. You can kind of see the flags. Don't mind the camera work, I'm doing this upside down so I can get better lighting and actually see them. But there's the flags on the bad boys there. So that's the very first basic painting I did. So update 2, my goal was to get more of these painted. I wanted to be able to have basically a full regiment on the table. So I was able to do that. So we have these guys here. We got regiment number 2. Regiment number 3, and actually zoom the other way. Boom. Regiment number 4, all painted up and done. I went into a little more detail with these guys than I did with the first one. I used the same painting techniques as far as the paints I used. I just added to what I had on these guys. Before I go any further, I wanted to talk a little bit about some things that I learned about myself that I kind of already knew, and this project has definitely shone a light on those. We all know some gamers or some hobbyists that are more focused on the hobby aspect of it. They love putting stuff together, they love painting, they love taking their time and modeling new stuff and trying new techniques and doing all that. And then there's guys out there in tabletop gaming, like myself, who are more focused on playing. Getting the stuff put together, get it on the table, rolling dice. I love the gaming aspect of it. I like the hobby aspect as well, but not near as much as I love rolling dice and getting them on the table and playing. If there's a game system out there that I can throw miniatures together, put them on a table, and play them all plastic, I would all day long. That's a horrible thing to say, I know, but it's just something I've learned with myself. So 28mm stuff like Bolt Action, Legion, Warhammer, anything like that I can just put on a table and start playing right away, I'm going to. One of the reasons why I started this channel way back when was because it kind of gave me that motivation and focus to put stuff together and paint it to get it on a table for when I'm playing games. That way I actually had painted models. And it's worked pretty well, actually. These guys, because of how they're based and because of the size of them, you really got to paint them before you put them all together. So this project has taken me quite a while. I started these late April, May. I'd have to look at the timestamp on the other videos to get these guys done. I'd already kind of completed these guys at that time, and to get these done. And it's now October 3rd. Now, granted, I've had these guys done for probably about 3 weeks now, 2-3 weeks. I was just waiting on the flags, which I finally was able to get done. But still, it took me a few months to do these. Batch block painting is not my thing. I've realized that. When you've gotten to the 50th pair of pants, it just starts to grind on me, and I would find that I get distracted by something else shiny on my table, put them together, and so it took me a while. Later on, what I realized when I got, and I'll show you what I'm working on here with some other things with this that's going to be part of this update, when I got to doing a few bases here or there, I decided to do small painting, small batch painting, I guess you can call it. Instead of doing, you know, what, there's 2 per base, 10, whatever that math is there. With doing all of these in a batch paint, it was too much. But if I would do a regiment or 3 stands and get that done, I could get it done a lot quicker. So I've decided that when I get to the Confederates with these, I'm going to do them in smaller batches, and I'll show you that here in a minute what I'm talking about. But I got my 4 regiments done, and I'm just going to pick up a couple of these guys, and I'll show better pictures of these as well at the end, like I always tried to do. But they're very basic to what I had done with the first batch. I went through and did some belt buckles, kind of did a little different coloring on the drums. I actually added metal or gunmetal to the rifles. Still messing around with blanket rolls, trying different colors. I kind of like what I got here with this brownish grayish. I did some that are this brown color. I did some that are more of a grayer color. Still trying to work and figuring that all out. And then the canteens, usually, like, I have a couple different Union canteens for reenacting. And the ones that are felt, they can be in the darker felt. But really, it's whatever scrap felt they use. So I decided to do them in the light blue just to make it pop a little bit more on the darker blue there. But you can see, I went through. I'm definitely missing doing modern military where I didn't have to do so much facial painting. But they turned out pretty good. I'm going to keep showing the flags because I'm kind of happy with how they turned out. So, yeah, I'm happy with this as a tabletop standard. I've gotten comfortable with my colors. So I have it kind of down for the Union side. Now I'm worried with how long it took me to batch paint these when they're all uniform, light blue, dark blue, what's going to happen with the Confederates. That's why I'm going to start doing, I think, like I said, smaller batches at a time. So I got three more regiments done, full regiments based off of what the supplement says to use. Now, anyone who's watching this has probably seen or read or watched some other videos on YouTube to see that a lot of people, including Warlord during their last live tabletop play, have actually shrunk the regiments down to 3 stands each. It looks better, it plays better on a 6x4. Really, when doing 5 bases, the frontage is bigger at 15 mil than it was if you're doing the standard 28 mil black powder. So a lot of people are going to these nice 3 stands per, and I've done some play testing with it and I think it works really well. So halfway through the project of painting all these, I realized that, you know what, that's probably what I'm going to end up doing for playing. So what am I going to do with all these extra guys I painted? Well, I ended up, and I was talking about how I decided to do another small batch, I ended up doing 4 more command stands. That now gives me 8 regiments, 2 brigades completed. And I actually kind of felt like I flew through painting these 4 extra command bases compared to doing everything else. And I think that's going to be the standard of how I paint, as in small batches, 3 stands at a time. It just works better for me. Those that can get out there and it's crazy because I've seen some videos already and photos of people that have already put the entire starter set 2400 figures painted together. Insane. Congrats, guys. I could never do that. Block painting is great for some, it just does not work for me. So I was able to go ahead now and get them done like this. And I think from now on, this is how I'm going to paint them. Like I said, it's in small batches. Now what I'm probably going to do when I paint at a time is do 2 regiments at a time of 6 stands. And the reason being is this is great playing at 3 stands like this, but if I'd ever want to do a massive epic, 8x6 or larger table and want to go to 5 stands, by then just dropping out the 1 command stand, I can then put these guys back together at 5 bases. And because I've batch painted them, not so much batch painted, but because I painted the 6 bases with the command at the same time, I can comfortably put 2 groups together that are going to look pretty uniform. Now, it won't matter for these guys too much. It's going to matter more for when I get into the Confederates, because I'm going to do some regiments in a traditional gray. I'm going to do some regiments with butternut, some different types of units in there. And so being able to do it that way works out best. moving forward, when I get to doing more Union, I'm probably going to actually cut down the hats and do like full Kepi regiments and that kind of stuff. So by doing it as 6 bases at a time, I'll be able to do that. But I'm pretty happy the fact that now I have, I'm getting these out of the camera here, but that I'm pretty happy that I now have 8 regiments. This will allow me now to demo. This is what I'm going to end up for demoing. 8 regiments basically. I'm going to be able to do 2 brigades, throw in some artillery, dismounted cav, mounted cav, skirmishers, that kind of stuff, to be able to run demos at the store for the demo days. So there they are. And again, we'll get some close-ups of these as we go, but just grabbing standard bases, you can kind of see, again, a fairly basic paint job on them. I went to light blue, Talisar blue contrast, Talisar blue mixed with Black Templar contrast for the paints to darken it up a little bit, and kept all the leather black. These are the ones with the bronze blankets. I think when I got to doing some of the extra command bases, I started mixing them up a little bit. See if I can grab one here. These are gray too, or like a brownish. But yeah, so there we go. They are done. Before talking about the next phase, some things that I've learned with these. Again, I've already kind of talked about the whole batch painting aspect for me. I guess I should talk first about, looking at my notes over here, that along with the first updates in the first project video that I did, I talked about how I was building, I was actually specifically building 6th Corps, even more specifically 3rd Division, 3rd Brigade, based off of basically the 93rd Pennsylvania, the unit that I Civil War reenact. So I was actually able to go through, and I started with 3rd Brigade, and went to 2nd Brigade, and then I'll continue on with 1st Brigade. But by doing these, I was able to get all of 3rd Brigade done, and 3 out of the 4 regiments of 2nd Brigade done as well. So, just going to go through the basing real quick, and what I did for right now, for ease of purposes, is I just wrote it on the bottom. I'll end up doing probably bases along, or something along the back, like a little poster card or something that sticks up that says it. But we have the 62nd New York. We have, of course, the 93rd that I did up. We have the 98th Pennsylvania. We have the 102nd Pennsylvania. And then we have the 37th Massachusetts, which was part of 2nd Brigade. These are all just kind of mixed in. I just threw them in kind of haphazardly, but so they're kind of mixed already by regiment or by brigade. This was the 139th Pennsylvania, which was the 93rd sister unit. We have the 10th Massachusetts. Nice stark white flags with the mass. And then we have the 7th Massachusetts. So the only thing I need yet for 2nd Brigade is the 2nd Rhode Island. And then once that's done, it'll actually be complete. So if I actually break these out, I'd have 5 regiments for 3rd Brigade and 4 regiments for 2nd Brigade is how it's going to be. So I still have all the 1st Brigade to do, which is another 5 regiments. And then they actually, in their artillery brigade, they had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different batteries that would be attached at the, obviously, brigade commanders, or the division brigaders' discretion. Yeah, the division brigaders. I can talk today. Division commanders' discretion of who they get attached to, which is kind of how this game works too. I know very specifically the scenarios tell you how to build and what artillery go with what regiments, but really when you would have a artillery brigade like that, they would be put anywhere on a battle line or attached to a regiment at that regiment commander's discretion to be used how he needed to within his lines. So those will get done. I'm actually working on the artillery now. I've seen people play a bunch of different ways. I'm trying to decide how to do it. Usually you have, like 4 to 6 gun batteries. I'm trying to determine if I want to do 1 artillery piece equals 2 guns. So on a 6 gun battery, I'm putting 3 out. On a 4 gun, I'm putting 2 out. and determine how to do that. But yeah, the artillery is coming next, along with the actual brigade commanders will be the Stone Mountain miniatures that I'm putting together here in a little bit. Now, I've run into a little bit of a snafu when it comes to the flags that I was really excited about in the last video. One thing I was already kind of aware of, but I didn't realize it'd be that big of a deal until we got going. The other is they have corps and divisional flags, but I don't have regimental flags. I'm sorry, they have they have division flags. They don't have brigade flags. The regimental flags are on the bases. I'm sorry, they don't have brigade flags. So the divisional flags would be the same as the corps flags. As I dig through my paperwork here, don't mind me. I actually want to show you guys here. So, like here, I have the flags here. So, right here for 6th Corps, that would be your headquarters flag. Then you have 1st, 2nd, and 3rd Division. So the way the flags would work is whatever symbol for the Corps, you would have that as your divisions in red, white, and blue. The brigade flags would break it down even more. So it would be the red flag. 1st Corps would be white background, red, but they would be triangular flags to show the actual different brigades. I can't find a company that makes them. Stone Mountain doesn't make them. I might mess around on some plastic art and try myself. I'm going to Historicon, which is a HMGS convention, next month in November. There's a couple companies there and vendors that make flags and have whole sheets of them. They also do custom ones, so I'm going to talk to them about trying to get some custom ones made to see if they can help me out with that. So I don't have them, so even when I build the brigade commanders, I got to figure out how to do it as far as the flags. Not really a big deal in the grand scheme of things, because really I could use, these, and I'm still putting down, that'd be for 3 brigades, and I could do other divisions or other corps if I wanted to, but I'm trying to stay how I want it to look. Very particular, I know. I don't know why, but I'll probably end up breaking in the end and just doing whatever's easier. But I'm going to try to get those flags made. The next thing that I knew was going to be a slight difference, but I didn't realize how drastic. Again, these are, epic scale, as Warlord calls them, which is 13.5 mil, which we've discussed many times, and so has other people. Holding up to 15 mil miniatures, they look good. So I thought it wouldn't be a big problem. However, the flags. The flags. So I bought all these great, and let me just grab. Let me see. Where are my. Whatever, I'll just grab these flags here. Yeah, PA flags here. Okay. So, we got these great Stone Mountain miniature flags. So I could do more regimental flags. It really plays a role in when we get into, say, the Massachusetts flags that we had seen. The New York flags, which have some really cool specific regimental ones. They actually even have some artillery ones on there as well. But my plan was to use these straight out, because then I could actually build to the regiments I wanted to. What I've discovered is they are definitely different in scale compared to the actual Epic ACW. And I'm just going to kind of hold those up so you can see the difference in those flag sizes. Although the miniatures match up pretty well, those flags are a big difference. I thought I could get away with it. What ended up happening, and this is the perfect example, and this bothers me more than it'll bother most people, well, some people, but it bothers me, is it's very, I don't know how well you can see on camera, it is very visible that regimental flag is bigger than the US flag. That's a big no-no. US flag should always be bigger. Or the same size carried on the right for distinction. So here's a perfect example of a base I did because I wanted the New York flag. The flags are awesome, but much smaller. So what I ended up doing was, as you can see, you have this little bit of yellow here. That's technically supposed to be all the way around. I trimmed it the best I could because it wouldn't even fit on the flag poles. So I had to trim it down just to get it to fit on there. This is the only one where I used the US flag next to it. if I grab one of the Massachusetts ones here, I use Stone Mountain miniature flags for both. So it looks good scale-wise because now they're both the same size. But again, I had to trim down top, bottom, and the ends here, top and bottom really drastically to get them to fit on the poles, bottom just to kind of try to keep them proportionate. The US flag, and this kills me to say, I had to cut off the bottom red stripe because it was just too bloody big. If I cut off too much at the top, I was taking away from the blue up here with the stars and all, the Union field, so I had to cut from the bottom more. In the grand scheme of things, they fit, they look good, I can have my specific flags that I want, but little things like that bother me a little bit. I'm going to continue to use them now on some of these. I did use a lot of, even though I paid for the Stone Mountains, I did break down and use a lot of the ones that came with the starter sets, because really a PA flag at this size, you can't really read the writing anyway, and half of them don't really matter anyway. I think they're all just basic, you know, Pennsylvania flags for all these, so I was able to kind of keep them and actually use the proper flags. But I got them all on and glued. Actually, a real cool tip, and I watched this on somebody else's video that's really cool. I have like a it's the leather brown, I forget exact, Sigor brown, I think, from GW. Once I glued the flag on, it was dried. I took that across the tops of them, and it actually kind of gives that yellowish brownish looking color to continue, like the tassels that would be around it, and hides the white from gluing them together, and actually looks pretty good. So cool little trick, take like a light brown, leather brown, and do that to your flags once you have them done. So yes, issue with the flags, but I'm going to do my best to make it work. The final thing we'll say about all these before I get zooming in and showing you some closer pictures, the next phase that I'm working on right now, like I said, is the artillery and commands for these. I'm probably going to end up doing probably 6 to 8 guns, artillery pieces, just to have them, and I'm going to do at least the 2 brigade commands for these. I might mess around with just to see what it's like to do the actual divisional flag or divisional command stand, and I'm probably going to do them a little bit bigger. Instead of having just the commander and a runner on them, I'll probably have like a commander and a couple runners, like a full staff on them, to show like the army general until I get in the bigger games where I'll paint up the Meade one and go from there. So that is what's going on next, and then from there I'm going to go back to doing, like I said, the Confederates next, which are going to take me a little bit longer, which is sad because of how long this took me, but I want to be able to mirror this in Confederate so I can do demos. Again, I'm going to probably do them 6 at a time so I can knock them out. Doing it that way too, it won't seem so daunting. Then it's you know, 4 batch paints, and hopefully I can get it done a lot quicker. So that is kind of all I have to say. I'm gonna finish up this video with some close-up zoomed in video shots and some still shots just so you can see the guys a little bit better. But trucking along, not near as quick as everybody else, but I'm happy with my progress. I keep joking with everybody at the store because I got a bunch of gamer friends that said they want to try this, but they don't know if they're interested in buying into it yet. And the joke I keep telling them is, once I have the Confederate stuff painted, probably in January, February, we can do some demo games. I'm hoping it's sooner than that, but we'll see how it goes. But yeah, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed. I rambled for way too long, I know, as you're looking at just still videos, or still images of these guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you're working on these. Let me know any snafus that you've had, problems that you ran into that you weren't expecting, any tips, tricks that you have to share with the group. And that is all I have. We will see you hopefully very shortly for update number 3. Take care, all.
Coming of the Lord, He is trampling out the vintage where the grapes of wrath are stored. He hath loosed the fateful lightning of His terrible swift sword. His truth is marching on. Lord, glory, hallelujah, spite of 100 circling camps. They have builded him an altar in the evening dews and damp. I can read his righteous sentence by the dim and flaring lamp. His day is marching on. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. Glory, glory, hallelujah. His day is marching on. He has sounded forth a trumpet that shall never call retreat.